Welcome to the Sir John Franklin High School course selection process. In our high school, students typically finish their high school diploma in 3 years. Some students will occasionally take a little bit longer and do it over a period of 4 or more years. There's no rush to get your high school diploma done. It's important that you end up with a plan and a program that will help you and enable you to do what you need to do in your future. Our course sequences and numbers are important to understand. So the first year courses in grade 10 for our high school courses start with a 10, 15, or 1000. So our 10 classes, grade 10 classes would be 10-1 or 10-2. The higher the number, the lower the academic rigor that would be required. The 15 would refer to something such as work experience 15 or our locally developed courses. The 1000 level are introductory courses in career and technology studies. For the second year courses in grade 11, the courses would be, for example, 20-1 or 2, or 25 would be designated in the course code, or 2000 for the CTS. If you're curious in your CTS, talk to your teachers. Usually there are prerequisites you need to have completed before you can move on to the other levels. Year 3 for grade 12, courses start with the number 3, for example, so be 30, 35, or 3000. Once again, you would have -1 or -2. And the higher the number, the lower the academic rigor that would be required. Depending upon your goals, if you're a grade 10 student, you may even in the second semester take a 20-level course. And what I mean by that is if you have Science 10 in the first semester and you're successfully completed, you do have the ability to move into a biology, chemistry, or physics 20 in the second semester. You need to have the prerequisite completed and have passed it before going on to the next level. We do encourage students at the grade 10 level to explore as many of the electives as well in our building, from the career and technology studies, our music programs, our drama programs. We also offer a lot of programming after school, such as our drama, our choral music, and our band programming. Course sequencing, a number -1 is always going to emphasize the more abstract and ambiguous challenges. You do not need to pick all your courses in the same sequence. What we refer to there is a student may, in fact, in the first semester take a -1 English, and if you were to get a 50%, and in grade 11 you might choose at that point in time to move to a -2 English. And that would be because the student may be at that point deciding they're not going to be going to university, and they simply want to achieve a higher grade. This is also very common if a student takes Math 10C and they work really hard but they still struggle with it a bit. They may choose to take a 20-2 Math over the 20-1. The 20-2 is a little bit less challenging, but it does get you into most things in university, and we'll repetitively say that today, but it's important to know that at the 30 level, the Math 30-2 is considered an academic math, and it would get you into everything other than engineering or a specific advanced science program. Credits. So now that you're in grade 10 or higher, you're going to earn credits when you complete a course. To graduate in the NWT, you need 100 credits minimum. And most of our students require or end up with more than 100 credits by simply fulfilling and passing the courses that they take each semester. Taking the minimal high school diploma requirements as we progress through this today, you'll notice does not give you the academic requirements that you would be required to have to get into most post-secondary programs. In order to get a credit for a program, you need to complete at least 50% or higher to get the credit and be able to progress on to the next level. If you were to repeat a course, an example we've given is Experiential Science 20, you earn the 5 credits if you pass it with a 50. But if a student decides they'd like to try to repeat that course to get a higher grade, you do not get additional credits for passing the course again, but on your transcript it would show the same credit value of 5, even though you've taken it twice, but the mark would change to 70. The university would not see each time you've taken the course. On the validation you would, but on the transcript it would just show the credit value and the highest mark achieved for that course. Prerequisites and co-requisites. As I mentioned, you do need to have 50% or higher in a course to go on to the next level. If you don't have the 50%, sometimes we suggest to students to look at alternative sequencing, like possibly moving from a -1 course to a -2. But once again, it depends on your programming. If your goal is to go to college, university, and you need the -1 level, sometimes it's worth repeating versus working to a lower level and then not being able to pursue your academic programming. Choose your required courses first. What we're referring there is your language arts, your math, your science programming. There's lots of room for the electives in your schedule. Sometimes it gets a little bit tight, but it's really important that you make sure that you pick the courses you need and make sure you're in the appropriate classes. It's also important to note that you might have an academic English, but also have the workplace apprenticeship 10-3 math. Can you get into university without an academic math? The answer would be yes. Can you get into a math or science related career at a college university? The answer would be no. Most post-secondary institutions require you to have 5 academic courses when you do apply. You do not need a math if you are in fact not going into a math related career. Language arts. So this is somewhat self-explanatory, but as a recap, we do have the English language arts at a -1 and at a -2. And their -1 is far more taxing, of course, and it requires much more critical thinking and more analysis of the literature and the stuff that you're doing. If you're unsure of the program you should be in, and you've been in this building, I would recommend you talk to your academic counselor, and first and foremost, your classroom teacher would know what you're capable of and would be able to give you some really good advice. Math. So the math is the Math 10C does involve the -1 and -2 content that prepares you for the grade 11 level. So a student that does complete Math 10C, your choice of grade 10 would be 10C or 10-3. The -3 does not allow to go to any route other than continue on in the -3. The 10C would allow you in grade 10 to go into the -1 or -2. Students that are strong in math, we always encourage you to do the -1 route. The -1 route does open up opportunities at post-secondary for things such like an advanced science degree, a math degree, and obviously going into mechanical engineering or an engineering programming. Most other programs, including commerce programs, nursing programs, they would require and be okay and sufficient to have the 30-2 math. What is Math 31? Math 31 is the pure calculus. It's usually taken in our second semester in our building after you've completed the Math 30-1. It is a course that is required to enter engineering and advanced math degrees throughout most institutions in Canada. This is a math flowchart. It just shows you the pathways that you could take. These pathways do exist for all subject areas. I do also suggest that you look at our program of studies that's on our school website under the documents folder, where this will be located shortly as well. And you'll see flowcharts for all of the academic courses, and it shows you the pathways you can take. So as a grade 9 student, they have the choice of going to Math 10C or into 10-3, the workplace and apprenticeship math. If they went the 10C route, they have a choice in grade 11 to go into the -1 or -2. And there is a little bit of flexibility. The question we often get is, can a student do a -1 and pass it and do a -2? And the answer is, of course, yes. Sciences. So at the science level, we do have the general science, which are experiential science 10, 20, and 30. And of course, then we have our science 10 at the grade 10 level, which would lead you in grade 11 to take bio, chemistry, or physics. So if you're someone that's not going into a science-related career and you just need a grade, looking towards graduation diploma or completing credits for your academic programming to go into a non-science related career, experiential science may be sufficient. If you're curious whether it'll allow you to get into your post-secondary program, I suggest you look at the university websites and talk to your academic counselor within Sir John to make sure you're in fact picking the right class. The Science 10 is obviously going to be more challenging. It does include components of biology, chemistry, physics, and some global energy systems. At the grade 11 level, if you've been successful in Science 10, you can in fact move on and take the biology, chemistry, and physics. Often the question we get is, which ones should I take? Our advice is going to always be, if you are good in science and you're a little unsure, but you know for sure you're going to be doing a math or science related degree, we strongly recommend you take the biochemistry and physics. For example, if you're going to go into engineering, most engineering programs require you to have a chemistry and a physics. If you're going to go into a general science or something in ecology, often students will be required to have a bio and chemistry. It's hard to know in grade 10 or 11 or even earlier what your career choice is going to be, so taking all three, if you're good in science and you think you can make it work, is always a good choice, so that you have more flexibility when you get in grade 12 and you start applying to these post-secondary institutions. Social studies. Social studies, much like the language arts, there's a -1 and the -2. It's important to note that the -2 route will lead towards credits on your transcript and also does lead towards graduation. However, the -2 social studies does not count at most post-secondary institutions or college as an academic course. If you have questions about that, or you think you're going to need it, I would suggest you talk once again to your academic counselor, or look at some of the academic programming and entrance requirements with the different post-secondary institutions. Career Life Management, COM, as we refer to it in our building, is a 3-credit course. It's a required course. We usually recommend to students that they take it in grade 10. It's a really good course to get you preparing and thinking a little bit about your future and making sure that you're giving some thought to what you're currently doing and what your future does hold for you. It's a 3-credit course and is required for graduation. Along with the Career Life Management, there also is the community service that needs to be completed by grade 12, of which 25 hours of volunteer time is required. It's not meant to block or be a hindrance in working towards one's diploma requirements. Other choices, the reason for doing it or having it exist, is that it's good for students to learn to give back and to volunteer one's time. And it is a common thing that happens through most institutions or provinces in Canada. The CPP, Career Program Plan, comes along and you get that credit when you do your COM as well. If you're curious, you see that on your transcript. Physical education is required for graduation. It is available at the grade 10, 11, and 12 level. You need to take at least one level of grade 10 physical education for graduation. So if you're someone that really likes phys ed, we encourage you to take it all the way to grade 12. It will count for some academic post-secondary programs, such as possibly a recreation program. However, it's not one that would often be used for a science program. But if you like physical education, we do encourage you to take it all the way through to grade 12, so at the 10, 20, and 30 level. Career and Technology Studies. So as I made mention of earlier, it is available at the 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000 levels. In order to work your way up in the level of challenge, students would have to complete the prerequisites in a certain area. So if it's woodshop and you're doing construction modules, there will be some general modules you have to complete at the 1,000 level before you can often move on to the 2,000 level. Your CTS teachers are very knowledgeable and will be able to help you with your pathways within your current technology studies. We do encourage you to explore all the CTS options we have in our building. We have a lot of choice. Our fine arts and performing art choices, we have them at the grade 10, 11, and 12, so 10, 20, and 30 level in the course codes. We encourage everyone to explore the opportunities in our building. We have everything offered in our building from music, choral music, guitar, and these are all available at the grade 10, 11, and 12 level. Also, we do offer drama at the grade 10, 11, and 12, as well as visual arts like the art 10, 20, and 30. If you have questions, we suggest you talk to the teachers in those areas or your academic counselor. Those of you that are also doing things like World Conservatory music in the community or with a teacher, that can be put on your transcript. The mark that goes on to those tests is something that could be used. Even if you are doing that, we encourage you to talk to the music teacher in our building because it would be valuable to have you be part of our program. So just because you do it outside the community doesn't mean you can't also do it in the school. French language, we are an immersion school. Students can take all of their programming or the majority of their programming in French within our building. You can also do a combination of programming. Typically a student, if they have been a French immersion student for a long time, they will keep the French language arts component particularly all the way through to grade 12, which would mean you're doing the full literature that you would be doing in an English class also in French. But you can, as you progress up in the grade levels, take a combination of some of the courses in English as well as French. We do offer a fair amount of flexibility. You do not, if you want to come out of, for example, a math in French immersion, doesn't mean you have to completely leave the immersion programming. Talk once again to your academic counselor and your immersion teachers for more clarity. We also in our building offer the core and the post-intensive French at the grade 10, 11, and 12 levels. The core is the basic level of French, and the PIF and the post-intensive, is the one that is a little bit more challenging. The purpose on those is to do conversational French and be able to do some basic reading and writing. But you're not going to, like the French language arts, be doing novel studies and poetry and the more intricate literature aspects. Once again, if you have any questions, do reach out and ask us. This is a chart we've developed within our building, and it's just a quick overview reminding students what they need for the minimum. And I'm going to focus on that here. The little part in the middle says a minimum requirement of 100 credits for graduation. That will not get you into most post-secondary schools in Canada. However, it would give you a diploma. So for English, for example, you're required to have a minimum of 15 high school credits. So English as a grade 10, 11, and 12, each course is worth 5 credits. So each of those 3 levels will tally up to 15. But let's say a student decides to take English because maybe it's not their a course area that they excel in. They may take English 10-2, 20-2, and 30-2. And in their second semester of grade 12, take a 30-1. That student would then have 20 credits of English. And because the grade 12 ones are different levels of challenging with content, the student would then have 20 credits in that category. Social studies, you'll notice there's only 10, and yes, you'd be correct if you were to guess that they do not need to have a grade 12 socials to graduate in the Northwest Territories or most provinces in Canada. However, we do encourage students to take the 30 level. Most programs that they would apply to that are non-science or math related do require a social studies course. If you have questions, please once again have a discussion with us. Math, we made some reference to that earlier. Yes, you only have to have math through grade 11 level as well, and that could be at the -3, -2 level, or -1. Most students do take math all the way through to grade 12, but if you're someone that really struggles with math, and the question is, can I get into university without a math? The answer is yes, as long as it's not a math or science related career. And it's the same one as we move next to it in science. Science, there are 10 credits, same thing. You only need to have experience with science 20 or science, at least 1 biochemistry or physics at a grade 11 level to get a diploma. You can get into university, but you would have to have 5 courses. Northern Studies is a required course in the Northwest Territory. Most provinces do have an academic course requirement now for some Aboriginal language. This course is not offered in French, and it's not offered in Aboriginal language. Career and Technology Studies, each module is 1 credit. You need a minimum of 5 to graduate in the Northwest Territories. Most students complete somewhere between 5 and 40 in their time in our building. Physical education, I referenced that earlier that you had to take at least once. Because it's an every other day course, it's 3 credits at the grade 10 level. At the grade 11 or 12, it would be 5 credits each time. But you only are required to have it at the grade 10 level. Fine arts. Fine arts does count at a post-secondary level as entry into most programs, with the exception of something like engineering. So if you were to take fine arts in our building, you need to take it a minimum of 1 time at the grade 10 level, and it's a 3 credit course. If you take it in grade 11 and 12, you would get 5 credits each time for it. At the 30 level, it would be able to apply to most humanity programs at university, and it would count as your entrance. So a Bio 30 would count in the same category often for a humanities program as having an art, drama, or music, for example, for fine arts or humanities-based programming. CTS, the career and life management is 3 credits. You have to do at least once. You have to pass it successfully. It is required for graduation, as well as you do need to do the 25 hours of community volunteer time. And when you've completed the 2 of those, you get and complete the career and program planning as well. You get 1. Additional credits. Some people often wonder where the heck did those come from, as well as the additional credits. So that's a pretty easy one for the additional grade 12 credits, which you need 10. So a student that would take a social studies, a math, or the sciences at a 30 level, they automatically go down in that category, or the 3000 level CTS courses. The moment those 10 are fulfilled, and for most people it's pretty quick, just by taking a socials or a math, for example, and a science. But the moment you have 10, those other credits then fulfill the next category, which is additional credits. And that's how that process works. So the minimum requirements are not that difficult to achieve. Just a reminder is most students do work to exceed the minimum requirements, because the minimum requirements are not going to get you into most post-secondary programs. This is another way of looking at what we already did. If you have any questions, it's just another way of representing the same information. You can print this off if it's going to be useful for you. Some students choose to use it. It's just a little planning guide where you can sit down and you can write out what your 3 or 4 years in our building are going to look like, and you can kind of map in your head what you think you would want to do to make use of the courses you want to, for what you need to do once you've done at high school. And don't forget, on the bottom there, those are the requirements that are for graduation. So the next part of this presentation is really important, and it's how to do the course selection PowerSchool. So every spring, starting somewhere in February onward, we usually try to get it done before the March break. You can pick your courses for the following school year. So first thing you need to be able to do is if you need to have a log-on user ID and password for the PowerSchool portal. A lot of you, or the majority of you, already will have the app installed on your smart device. The same user ID and password can be used for both. When you're picking your courses, we recommend you don't use the app. We do recommend you use a web browser, and because it does get a lot of information on the screen, a big screen or a computer or a tablet would be a little easier than using a smart device that's smaller. Once you've logged in successfully, first of all, if you can't get in, see your academic counselor or the front office staff of Sir John Franklin High School to get your password or user ID reset. Once you're in and you're signed in, on the left side of the screen, you're going to see something that says your grades and attendance. So that'll be your courses and your attendance for your current classes. Then you see something called grade history, and that's your historical marks that you have already been from previous report cards and semesters you've spent in our building. Teacher comments are comments teachers would have left for you for your courses. Also recommendations they have for you for the level of course you should take next. Class registrations is where we're going to go today, where the red arrow is there, and that's where you're going to pick your courses. That'll be there for as long as we leave it open for you to pick your courses. At some point we will close that, and for the reason is because we then build our courses in our school. We decide how many sections of English and math we're going to offer based on the courses you ask for. If that is closed off and you need to make a change, please see your academic counselor within the building to get that, and they will be able to override it on the administrative side of PowerSchool. My calendars, you can use that for planning the courses and do assignments. Some teachers may be using it to remind you when you have assignments that are due. So once you've clicked on the classes, you will see that the departments are on the left-hand side, and you have English, Math, Socials, all the way down to additional requests. The red pencil, the pencil part, tells you that it's a required course. So how that works is PowerSchool looks at the courses you've completed, and it also is looking at the courses you need for a minimum diploma. So the system is defaulting and saying that it knows when you need to take something. The green means that it knows it's an elective or something you've already achieved that you do not need to take. So for example, in this case, French language art is an optional course. Not everybody has to do it. We do encourage students to take it, but it is something in green because you don't necessarily have to go in and select it. The way this works is you click on the pencil beside the green or the red, And then you'll have another window open up, and in the second window you're going to see this. So the example is English Language Arts. You will see in this case that there's an ESL course. There's a 10-1, 10-2, 10-4 for a K&E programming, and then you'll also see that we have a grade 11s are grayed out, which means it knows you cannot take them because you haven't completed the grade 10. If you were a student that was in grade 11, you would find that it would require you to take the grade 11, and the grade 12 ones would not be available as well. If you're a student that for some reason is going to be in grade 12, but you're also in the school, you're hoping to take a grade 11 and a grade 12 English, you'll have to see your academic counselor so they can override this, and they would actually be able to, on their side, select the English 10-1, for example, and the 30-1. Once you've picked the English, make sure you always click OK for the system to acknowledge and to save your choice. Once you have clicked the OK, another dialog box will open up, and in this case it says English, and the student had picked the 10-1 English. And for each course you will see that come up. Once you've done, and this is a grade 10 student, it'll actually tell you, or you'll be able to see under each category there is green now, meaning they are all selected. The pencils, you can go back in them if you have to, if you've made a mistake. Don't forget if it's to make sure that if you're picking immersion, for example, bio in French, that the course number will be an _F, or of course it'll be spelt a little different than the biology. Also, if you're at the science page, you'll notice that there are 2 pages on it, so you can actually go to the next page, because physics, for example, may not be on the first screen. So pay attention and read at the bottom of each screen, and it'll tell you what you need to do. Once you are seeing that all your requirements are in and you're happy with it, you need to absolutely click on the Submit button. The Submit button is usually at the bottom of the screen, right there for the purpose of this little presentation. It's in the middle of the screen there, but once you hit Submit, it saves it in PowerSchool, and then another window will come up, and you're going to now see all the courses that are saved. If it didn't allow you to go there and a little pop-up window came up and said you have too many credit hours, that means that it knows you have too many courses to what it knows you need to have for the following school year. If it says you have too little, that means it knows that you have space in your schedule, and it also knows, the system knows, that you need more courses to work towards graduation. So we do recommend you at least take enough that you're on your graduation target and fulfill your requirements. Once your course, the system has accepted it, you should make sure you sign out properly. And if you have questions afterwards, as I said, see your academic counselor. And we're going to review all of these, and this is how we decide the number of courses we have in our building for English, math, and even our elective courses we have in the building. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions, please talk to your academic counselors and the staff within our building for help. Thank you and have a great day.